Hey everyone, I do believe I don't have my microphone, or just having just a little bit of technical problems, my fault as usual. So it's just going to wait for about 30 seconds till we get everyone connected, and then we're just going to run through some of the aspects of the ongoing case in Dublin at the moment and how it's affecting Aaron's trial as we look back at the evidence given. So we'll be back to you in about 20 seconds. I do apologise. I'm just changing the sound. Can you test that sound? Again, apologies everyone. I'm just hopefully, does that sound better, Kelly? Are we picking up the microphone? There we go. I think that's our mic working now. We okay at that, Kelly? Can you hear it? Apologies again. Right, I think we go ahead anyway. Is that sound proper? Or is it echoey, Kelly? Please. Okay, we'll move ahead anyway. So, as I said, we will be updating you on what's happening in the CCJ in Dublin at the moment and how it reflects upon what happened during the course of Aaron's trial. So, I suppose the first thing to say is a brief overlook at Aaron's campaign and how our campaign and the information we've given you, the Irish public, in respect of Aaron's campaign and Aaron's trial, and how that has been impacted by the ongoing trial in Dublin. And obviously because the two boys that are now on trial in Dublin were Aaron's friends, they were continuously mentioned during the course of Aaron's trial, and vice versa. Aaron Brady has been mentioned every day in Dublin during the course of this ongoing trial. So the impact is very simple and it's very easy to explain. We've created over 200 videos and we've given you, the Irish public, vast amounts of information and detail in respect to the investigation and in respect of Aaron's trial and how that was conducted. So, as I say, we've done the 200 videos. We've just had 15 weeks in Dublin with this ongoing trial. And during the course of those 15 weeks, not one sentence in that trial would contradict anything we have told you, the Irish public. So I think that gives, just in a broad stroke, that would give you a fair idea that the information we, the Brady family, during the course of the Justice for Aaron Brady campaign, the information we are giving you is correct. Nothing has been contradicted. And I have no doubt if anything was there to contradict what we've seen, the mainstream media would pick up on it immediately. Indeed, the mainstream media have been blindingly obvious by their non-appearance at this trial. I think Owen Reynolds and possibly Alison O'Riordan are the only two journalists who wrote anything about the trial, really, and that was in respect of a tattoo. which had nothing got to do with the tattoo, had nothing to do with the mother of Detective Garda Adrian Donoghue. So that shows you where the mainstream media are. And that's not for us to control, but we have reached out to the mainstream media, and we will do so once again this evening. And I will repeat, over 200 videos, a lot of information, and none of it has been contradicted in the 15 weeks since this trial started in January. And what have we learned in respect of Aaron's case and the evidence given against Aaron in those 15 weeks? Well, we have confirmed, and we've told you before, that Joe Ryan, Adrian Donoghue's working partner and colleague that evening in Lordship Credit Union, has confirmed that the man who shot his colleague was 6'1" or 6'2". So therefore, Joe Ryan has confirmed Aaron Brady cannot be the man who shot and murdered Detective Garda Adrian Donoghue. This fact was also confirmed by Mary, senior credit union worker, who confirmed the gentleman carrying the long barrel was long and athletic. And that too confirms Aaron Brady could not be the man who shot and murdered Detective Garda Adrian Donoghue. Both these people are the only two witnesses who actually seen and were looking at the getaway vehicle. Both of these people have confirmed in February this year the vehicle that drove away from Lordship Credit Union with the raiders in that vehicle was dark grey. And we have seen a myriad of evidence in respect of a blue Volkswagen Passat, created by the prosecution, the DPP, and An Garda Síochána to try and batter or hammer a round peg into a square hole. And you can hammer as much as you like, but a grey car is a grey car, a blue car is a blue car. And we have more about that as we move forward. The water in respect of the evidence that was given against Aaron was this, it was portrayed as a very, very significant point in the prosecution, the silence of a number of phones at the time of the Modern robbery at Lordship Credit Union. And Mr. Graham, the mainstream media, and I do believe Mr. Steen mentioned this as well during the course of Aaron's trial, that this was highly unusual. This was groundbreaking evidence and inference and circumstantial evidence towards the conviction of our son for a crime he did not commit. And they used this as a very powerful nail for the jury to hang a hat on. And lo and behold, we did know at the time that this gravely flawed. But it has been proven once again, and I think we released a video on the 30th of April going into more detail on that. It's actually the last video we released. And one of the men that's on trial now at the moment, far be it from unusual that his phone was silent at this time, between, we'll say, 6 p.m. and 10 p.m, his phone was actually silent 16 times during that month of January 2013. So for Brendan Graham and An Garda Síochána to try and tell you, the public, and the jury during the course of Aaron's trial that this was highly unusual and this was a signpost towards Aaron Brady's guilt, nothing could be further from the truth. And there is more information to come on this, of course, but we do believe that the three phones were silent simultaneously 12 times during the course of January 2013. And that brings us once again to the three phones, the three men, Aaron and the two men that's on trial now at the moment. And of course, the rest of the gang is missing. Mr. Steen and Brendan Graham are still at their party tricks of throwing names out in the courtroom. 10 years later, of people whom we know that we have CCTV footage of them in local shops. We have testimony from people who these gentlemen were with, families, girlfriends, and I think phone cell site analysis will show that they were nowhere near Lordship Credit Union. So the theatre continues with Mr. Brehon and Mr. Steen just flicking out names for no reason whatsoever, saying that Aaron Brady or suspect A or suspect B text such a person. People who had nothing, the same as Aaron and these two men that are on trial at the moment, had nothing to do with the Northern Lordship Credit Union. So it is a false narrative in respect of the silence. Complete and total false narrative. It's lies. It's misleading the jury. It's misleading the judges. And then we move what's happened today and over the course of the last 5 days on Thursday last. And we are reflecting here on the evidence given by Garda Kenna. And if I just go back to the phone silence, it's something we weren't sure about until the recent weeks. On Garda Síochána, and you'll see in the video we released on the 30th of April, Garda Síochána, Brendan Brehon, the DPP, never sought for the phone analyst to check if the phones were silent any other times in January. So they're going around pontificating about this unusual act when they didn't even go and check it. But I suspect that may have been checked, but it didn't suit the false narrative. But that is for another day. So we're moving on now to Garda Kenna and what was checked and what wasn't checked. And we're moving on to an area that we've covered on numerous occasions. It's in relation to this theft of a blue Passat in Clogherhead on Wednesday the 23rd of January. And the evidence presented to the court and to the jury during the course of Aaron's trial detailed a 90-kilometre journey, round trip, where there was only 6 sites of CCTV footage presented to the court, some of which is, shall we say, dubious in quality. In fact, it is pathetic, would be the best word I could use to describe some of it. But what's very interesting here, and what we want to highlight, that another aspect of Aaron's case that has been confirmed. Questions we had, serious concerns we had in relation to some of the time between the different sites of CCTV footage. And Garda Kenna has confirmed over the last few days and that he himself never checked the times on a montage he created. So Garda Kenna is now a detective. Now, I do believe in the little pen pick that I have up about Garda Kenna, it says he's an expert in nothing, and that was words from his own mouth during the course of Aaron's trial. But I may stand to be corrected on that now. I do believe he has done a CCTV, some form of a course, and he has a certificate now in CCTV, either analysis or viewing. Anyone wants to check that, they're more than welcome to contact Garda Kenna and see the extent of his qualifications. So, excuse me, we have a situation where we have a man who's been involved in a case for 10 years. He's presented a montage of video clips, and those clips obviously are the 6 focal points on the Wednesday evening where the Passat was stolen. And there's obviously a time that each of those CCTV clips captured either a blob of light or a vehicle driving past. And we've always had serious concerns. In fact, it is laughable, some of the times that are impossible and simply ridiculous. Now, it was mentioned in court that sometimes there can be some, shall we say, slackness in times between point A and point B. In short journeys, I would accept that, and I think everyone would accept that. But this is a situation where we have a 90-kilometre journey spanning over just under 3 hours. So to see a vehicle at 2 a.m. in the morning and then see another vehicle at 5 a.m. in the morning after a 90-kilometre round trip, now all you're seeing is blobs of light. For there to be any substantial inference or circumstance drawn from that would be in the realms of Alice in the Wonderland and beyond and into Narnia. So we must look at each part and each clip that was put into this montage created by now detective Gareth Kenna. And most of you who are watching will be aware that the entry point into the allegations against Aaron and the two men in court today, the entry point is a trip from Monasterboice, which is just off the M1, for those of you not familiar with it, just north of Drogheda, and there's a journey taken to a village of Termonfeckin. And the times on the CCTV footage, and these times were confirmed by An Garda Síochána when they collected the CCTV footage and or the actual machinery that took the DVD player, that took the whole unit from a number of properties. An Garda Síochána, every one of them knew they were investigating the murder of their colleague. Everything should have, and rightly so, should have and would have been done correctly. And the times were checked on Tetra radios, the times were checked on speaking clocks, the times were checked on mobile phones. So we know the times are correct. So I'm just going to go through one of these times now and then explain what has been confirmed in court. Most of you will have seen this before. It's a journey time, and I think, if I can do this correctly, from Monasterboice in to Termonfeckin Credit Union. And according to Gareth Kenna and the montage, this clip in the montage, this was done in just over 6 minutes. And we have said from the outset, this is impossible. The entry point into their whole storyboard is flawed, is, as it says on the sheet, impossible. It is as simple as that. Now, what goes beyond the realms of Alice in Wonderland and into Narnia and beyond again, Gareth Kenna, who has been involved in this case from day one, told the court that he never drove these and correlated the time trail. Now, we did have another Garda David Buckley. Now, Garda David Buckley did do a number of time trials from Lordship Credit Union to just outside our house here. Lordship Credit Union to Silverbridge, absolutely irrelevant time trials. So they didn't do any time trials on Garda Síochána, the DPP, the incident room in Fort Apache, never done any time trials on the actual video clips on the montage that was going forward to the CCJ as evidence against our son. Now, all these times were hidden in the initial books of evidence. It just said journeys from Monasterboice to Termonfeckin, Clogherhead, Donegasson. It was only when we went to trial with Aaron and Garda Kenna put the montage up on the screens, and then the times were given. And guess what I done that evening? I drove it and done the times. On my very first hearing of it, on the way home, we drove the times. And I knew then the whole thing was a pile of manure. The times were, I thought the guards had made mistakes, that this was complete and utter nonsense. But we've learned since that this is the story they have put forward. Now, Garda Kenna has sworn on the Bible that he never done these times, that he never actually drove. He was very ambiguous about his knowledge of the actual area. Now, we drove every day from here in South Armagh to Dublin during COVID. We were the only cars on the road on the M1 on several days, multiple days. And Garda Kenna and the guards from Dundalk would have made a similar journey. And it beggars belief that Garda Kenna wants us to believe, and the judges to believe, that he is so stupid, so incompetent, and so inadequate that he didn't check his own work. I do not believe that. It is my opinion, and it is our campaign opinion, that Garda Kenna, Garrett Kenna, now detective, was 100% certain of every time. Garrett Kenna knew back whenever he started putting the montage together in 2015 or 16, Garrett Kenna knew. Detective Garda Kenna, Detective Mark Phillips, and the man who instigated all this, Detective Pat Marry, knew that the whole thing was impossible at the very start. Now, there's also serious issues with some editing of evidence, which we just haven't touched on yet. And obviously, I have to be very careful because I don't want to step into the realms of contempt of court again. We're dealing with evidence that was presented during the course of Aaron's trial, concerns we've had on all these issues here, the times, the silence, the 6'1" man who shot and murdered Detective Guard Adrian Donoghue. And as these points are confirmed in a court under oath again, we bring them forward. So there are other issues. And I think I will repeat this once again because there has been some get out clause in respect of times just mightn't be right. We're looking at A to B from start to finish. So we'll say from A to H, and everyone's forgetting about B, C, D, E, and F. That cannot happen. It cannot be allowed to happen again. And we will shout long and hard and loud about any attempt to give an escape route to Garda Kenna. So just to finish on what we've learned over the last few days, Garda Kenna has told he didn't do the time trials. As far as he's concerned, no one else done a time trial. So there's total incompetence once again, exactly the same as nobody else checked for silences in the phones.
Lisa's asking how long does the journey normally take?
Oh, the journey normally takes, well, I think I've seen it there. Sorry, I'm cutting across. Caroline just asked. Someone has sent a question in. How long does this journey normally take? We drove it extremely fast, 7 minutes and 50 seconds. It takes roughly about 9 or 10 minutes, nice steady pace from Monasterboice to Termonfeckin Credit Union. And it's vitally important here to mention there was no vehicle stolen at this time. So I think we'd have to assume if someone was out scouting and looking to steal a vehicle, that wouldn't be driving at 100 miles an hour. And to add insult to injury, they're trying to tell us that the initial journey too is a pile of nonsense, as you'll see in the videos I'm going to put up after this, from the Ballymac service station at Ballymac roundabout, just north of Dundalk, to Monasterboice in. They want us to believe that a 22-year-old lad in a top of the range 5 Series 535 BMW travelled an empty motorway at 62 miles an hour. The car wouldn't even be in third gear. It's complete nonsense. So just to finish up, we are saying Gareth Kenna on Thursday last and today committed perjury. or else he would have to accept that he is totally incompetent. He is totally not fit for purpose. A child would know, anyone. It was my automatic response when we finally got the times. I wrote them down in my notebook, straight down the road, done the times. So we will be putting together a report on Garrett Kenna on the times issue, and we will be putting it into GSOC again. They seem to have stopped replying to us, but that won't stop us putting forward our serious concerns. So it'll take a couple of days just to get that all together, all the information. But a man that's head of the montage, head of correlating all the information, and he doesn't do a time trial. Pat Murray didn't organise a time trial. This is so massive. It's unbelievable. And then they put together a montage that creates a totally false narrative that is impossible. And again, we have a situation where we have previously offered to take the journalists on the trip and show them the times. And we haven't even got into the mess that Garrett Kenna is trying to portray in respect to the Burnside. But leaving that aside, that's for the next day. Any journalist on the island or anywhere wants to do the trips and look at the times. 7 minutes to do a 1 minute journey when the cars are stolen and travelling at high speed. Again, they must have driven into Alice in Wonderland, into Narnia and back. 38 minutes to do a 2 minute journey. It's simply nonsensical. And then the car enters a TARDIS in Castlebellingham and comes out of the TARDIS at the Ballymac round about 49 minutes later. But there's another very serious story to that in respect of Garda Kenna and others editing CCTV coverage. So that's where we are at the moment. We'll continue to bring you any further developments in respect was given during the course of Aaron's trial, because it's vital we keep doing that in order to stop this charade and farce continuing. So once again, thank you all for joining us. I will be putting together a little collage of videos in respect of Wednesday the 23rd of January 2013 and the times, and that video will give you a visual of each of the CCTV sites where CCTV footage was harvested. I'll mention once again a 90-kilometre round journey and 6 pieces of CCTV. Totally impossible. Nonsense. There's no connectivity whatsoever. Right, folks, I'll let this go. Thank you so much for tuning in this evening. Thank you to everyone for interacting and asking the questions. Please continue to do so, and we'll speak to you at the next video. And please continue, like, comment, share. Thank you all. Thank you. It's refusing to stop. And